For most of human history, Venus was a mystery. It shines brighter than any other planet in the night sky, a dazzling beacon just before dawn or after sunset. To the ancients, it was the morning star, the herald of light. But what lay beneath its brilliant glow was a question that haunted astronomers for centuries. Was it a paradise? A lush twin of Earth hidden behind clouds? Or a world of storms and fire? We didn't know, because for thousands of years, no human eye had ever truly seen Venus. Its clouds, thick, sulfurous, and unbroken, hid everything from view. From Earth, all we could see was light, endless light. Scene 2, the promise of a twin. When the first telescopes turned toward Venus, scientists were filled with optimism. Its size, its density, its orbit, all so similar to Earth's. Many believed that if life existed anywhere else in the solar system, it would be there. An atmosphere meant clouds, and clouds meant rain, and rain meant oceans. Venus, they thought, was a mirror of home, a world of blue skies and warm seas, perhaps even jungles beneath its eternal clouds. It was an idea too beautiful to let go. But beauty, in science, often hides something deeper. And so, we began to look closer. Scene 3, the first glimpse. The truth of Venus began to unravel when we stopped looking with our eyes and started listening with radio waves. In 1956, radar signals bounced off its surface and revealed something startling. The planet's clouds were not gentle mist, but sheets of sulfuric acid, reflecting sunlight like a mirror. Then came the probes, the first human-made explorers brave enough to dive into that inferno. The Soviet Venera missions of the 1960s and 70s pierced the clouds and sent back the first real measurements. What they found shattered every illusion. Scene 4, the world beneath the clouds. Beneath the haze, Venus is not blue or green, but orange, gold, and red. A desert of cracked stones and molten scars, lit by a dim yellow sky. The temperature? Over 470 degrees Celsius, hot enough to melt lead. The pressure? 90 times Earth's, the same as being nearly a kilometer under the sea. Winds tear across its upper clouds at 350 kilometers per hour. Yet near the ground, the air is so dense that it moves like thick oil. And when lightning flashes in the clouds, it illuminates a world no one was ever meant to see. For decades, these were not artists' impressions. They were real images, taken by the Venera landers through real cameras, sent across 40 million kilometers, each photograph surviving only minutes before the probes themselves melted away. Scene 5, the first photographs of hell. The first true images of Venus's surface came from Venera 9 and 10 in 1975. Grainy black and white photos showed a world of shattered boulders, a horizon wrapped in golden haze, and a ground so bright it seemed to glow. Then Venera 13 in 1982, the most successful lander ever sent to Venus. It survived for 127 minutes, long enough to capture the first color panoramas of another planet's surface. No filters, no CGI, just raw sunlight filtered through toxic skies, landing on stone that had never known shadow. The colors, muted gold, pale orange, and dark brown, are the real tones of Venus, a world both haunting and strangely beautiful. Scene 6, a planet of echoes. Every image we've ever taken of Venus has been a race against time. Each lander that touched the surface was built to survive the impossible, and every one of them lost the battle. The heat destroys circuits, the pressure crushes metal, the air corrodes everything it touches. Even radio signals fade as they rise through that heavy glowing sky. The final photographs often arrived broken, lines of static, half complete, as if the planet itself resisted being seen. And maybe that's why Venus feels so alien, because it's not just another planet. It's a reflection of what happens when a world like ours takes a different path. Scene 7. The Lost Twin. Billions of years ago, Venus and Earth may have been nearly identical. Both born from the same dust, the same light of the newborn sun. But where Earth found balance, Venus lost control. Its oceans, if they ever existed, evaporated under a runaway greenhouse effect. Carbon dioxide trapped heat, which evaporated more water, which trapped more heat, until the cycle became unstoppable. Venus became the mirror of Earth's potential future, a warning written across the face of a dying world. When we look at Venus, we are not just seeing another planet. We are seeing a version of ourselves in which everything went wrong. Scene 8. The Eyes That Saw It. The images of Venus we have today were captured by courage and engineering. Soviet landers, American orbiters, Japanese satellites. Each one added another layer to the picture of this hidden world. From orbit, NASA's Magellan spacecraft mapped 98% of the planet's surface using radar, revealing mountains, volcanoes, and vast plains of hardened lava. The Akatsuki orbiter still circles today, watching the clouds swirl like living storms. Together, they gave us the truest image of Venus ever seen. No filters, no CGI, just reality. A world beneath the clouds, still burning, still waiting. We've peeled back the clouds. We've seen the molten plains, the shattered rocks, and the light filtered through a poisonous sky. Now we ask the question, how did it happen? How did a world so much like Earth become its opposite? Scene 1. A twin once alive. Billions of years ago, the solar system was chaos, a storm of collisions, heat, and creation. Venus formed from the same materials as Earth. Its mass, its gravity, its composition, almost identical. It may have had shallow seas, a blue sky, and clouds made of water vapor. For millions of years, Venus might have been a second home for life. But something, somewhere in its deep history, changed everything. Scene 2. The chain reaction. At first, the sun was dimmer, but as it aged, its light grew stronger. On Venus, that extra sunlight evaporated more water from its oceans. Water vapor, a powerful greenhouse gas, trapped more heat. The warmer it got, the faster the oceans vanished. And as the water disappeared, so did the planet's ability to regulate temperature. Carbon dioxide from volcanic eruptions filled the air. But with no oceans to absorb it, the atmosphere thickened until the heat could no longer escape. The cycle spiraled out of control. What followed was not a slow death, but a planetary transformation. Venus became a furnace, a self-sustaining greenhouse that turned paradise into fire. Scene 3. The Sky That Burns. Today, the atmosphere of Venus is made of 96% carbon dioxide, with clouds of sulfuric acid drifting endlessly above. The air is so dense, a single step feels like walking underwater. Lightning rips through the clouds, and thunder echoes across plains that have never known silence. The sunlight that reaches the surface is dim and red, as if every day were sunset. The sky glows with heat, and rain, if you can call it that, never touches the ground. It evaporates before it falls. Scene 4. A world in motion. For all its stillness, Venus is not dead. Its surface may be ancient, but it is alive with volcanoes, some still active, some frozen mid-eruption. Radar mapping by NASA's Magellan spacecraft revealed vast plains of basalt, proof of a planet that remade itself through fire. Mountains as tall as Everest rise from the plains. Craters stand like scars, rare because the thick atmosphere burns away most meteors before they strike. And above it all, the clouds circle the planet every 4 Earth days, even though Venus itself rotates slower than almost any world we know. A single day on Venus lasts longer than its year. Here, time moves differently. Days stretch into months, storms last a lifetime, and light itself bends under pressure. It is a world where physics and imagination seem to merge.
Scene 6. The sound of the atmosphere. When probes descend through its clouds, their sensors record something haunting. The sound of wind, deep and heavy, as if the air itself were breathing. Each vibration, each faint echo, tells scientists about the density of the atmosphere, the movement of gases, the rhythm of the planet itself. The Venera landers heard it first, the slow sigh of a world in motion. It is not a silence, but a constant, low whisper, the voice of a planet long past the point of peace. Scene 7. The hidden volcanoes. In 2023, new radar data from orbit confirmed that some volcanoes on Venus may still be active, erupting in real time. Each eruption releases sulfur dioxide into the upper atmosphere, changing the brightness of the planet as seen from Earth. That means Venus isn't just a relic. It's still alive, still reshaping itself even now. The planet beneath those clouds is not quiet. It's restless. Scene 8. The weight of a sky. Imagine standing on Venus. The air around you is so thick, it presses with the weight of an ocean. The light is yellow and diffuse, as if the entire planet were submerged in syrup. You look up, but you never see the sun. The horizon curves sharply, and every direction feels the same. There are no stars, no blue, no sense of distance. Just endless heat and a sky that never clears. It's easy to see why no camera lasts long here, why every image we have is a fragment, a final glimpse before the world consumes it. And yet, those fragments tell us everything we need to know. Scene 9. Lessons in fragility. Venus shows us what happens when a planet loses balance. It reminds us that worlds are fragile, that climate is not fixed, and that even something as stable as a sky can change forever. The same physics that transformed Venus exists here on Earth. The same gases, the same sunlight, the same feedback loops, only delicately kept in check by oceans, forests, and life itself. When we study Venus, we are not just looking at another planet. We are studying the boundaries of our own survival. Scene 10. The scientists who listen. Around the world, teams of researchers still work to unlock Venus's secrets. NASA's Veritas mission, the European Envision orbiter, and India's Chakraya-1 will soon map the planet in resolutions never seen before. They will listen for volcanic tremors, measure the chemistry of its air, and trace what remains of its lost oceans. They're not just exploring Venus, they're exploring the story of climate, of transformation, and of what happens when equilibrium breaks. The closer we look at Venus, the more it feels like a warning, written in the language of stone and fire. A world that whispers, "This could have been you."
We've seen the true face of Venus, a world of heat, pressure, and acid rain. A planet that once might have been alive, but fell into silence and fire. Yet even now, it still shines in our sky, as bright and beautiful as ever. Venus is both a lesson and a mirror, a story of what happens when a world like ours loses balance, and what that says about us. Scene 1. The morning star. Every dawn, before the sun rises, Venus appears, glowing low on the horizon, outshining every other planet and star. It's been there longer than human memory. Our ancestors saw it as a goddess, a messenger, a light that returned each morning after the darkness of night. To them, Venus was not a world, it was a promise that light always comes back. Even now, it's easy to forget what that light hides, because the same glow that made Venus a symbol of hope comes from clouds thick with poison. It's beautiful, but deadly. That's what makes Venus so haunting. It shines like love, but lives like fire. Scene 2. The beauty of distance. From Earth, Venus is breathtaking, a bright pearl floating in twilight. But up close, it's chaos, wind, acid, and heat. It reminds us that beauty depends on distance. We often imagine paradise in what we can't see clearly, but the closer we get, the more complex it becomes. Venus is not what it seems, and neither are most things that shine. Scene 3. The light that endures. Despite everything, Venus has survived. Through billions of years, through collisions, storms, and a sun that keeps growing hotter, it still orbits, still reflects light across the void. Its surface may burn, but its glow never fades. Maybe that's why it still captivates us, because it endures, even when it shouldn't. Scene 4. Reflections of Earth. Every study of Venus teaches us something about Earth. Its atmosphere shows what happens when carbon builds unchecked. Its surface teaches how planets recycle themselves through volcanic renewal. Its clouds help us understand how sunlight and gases shape global climate. Every piece of Venus is a fragment of our own story, a test case written in rock and fire. And so when scientists look at Venus, they're not just studying another world, they're studying Earth's possible future. Narrator. Venus may have died long ago, but its story still saves us, if we're willing to listen. Scene 5. The eyes that never saw it. It's easy to forget that no human being has ever seen Venus's surface with their own eyes. The light we've seen was captured by machines that survived only minutes before melting away. Every photograph we have was sent by a probe gasping against pressure, by metal straining under impossible heat. Each frame we received was a victory, a glimpse through fire, through time, through the silence of another world. Those images are not just data, they are the last words of explorers that died delivering them. Scene 6. What we see, what we believe. We often think seeing is believing, but Venus teaches the opposite. What we see is not always truth, and truth sometimes hides in what can't be seen. For centuries, Venus was a symbol of love and beauty. Then science revealed it as a planet of storms. And now we see both at once. A world that burns and yet still shines. That's the paradox of Venus. It destroys what comes too close, but illuminates everything that watches from afar. Scene 7. The future beneath the clouds. We are not done with Venus. New missions are being built, designed to survive the inferno longer than ever before. NASA's Veritas will map the surface in radar so sharp we'll see details smaller than a city block. The Da Vinci probe will dive through the atmosphere, sampling gases layer by layer to learn how it formed and if it ever had oceans. Europe's Envision orbiter will join the effort, its instruments tuned to read the chemical fingerprints of a planet's history. Together, these missions may give us the clearest view of Venus yet. Not an artist's vision, not computer imagery, but truth, in light and sound and color. Scene 8. A message from the clouds. When those new probes descend, they'll pass through layers of cloud where temperatures and pressures briefly resemble Earth's. Some scientists wonder, could microscopic life still drift in that narrow band of safety, floating on droplets of sulfuric acid and water? No proof yet, but the idea lingers. If life can exist there, in the very air of Venus, it would mean that even in the most hostile places, nature finds a way to hold on. And maybe that's the true story of Venus. Not just death, but endurance. Not just fire, but persistence beneath it. Scene 9. The meaning of the morning star. Look up tonight, and you'll see Venus again. The first light in the evening sky, or the last before dawn. It's been there since before we were human. It will be there long after we're gone. It doesn't speak, but it tells a story of creation, destruction, and survival. A world that reminds us that beauty can deceive, but truth, even harsh truth, is its own kind of light. This is Venus, not an illusion, not a dream, but a real place, a world that burns and yet still shines. A planet that should have been Earth's twin and became its warning. And when we look at it, through clouds, through distance, through time, we're not just seeing another planet. We're seeing what might have been, and perhaps what could still be, if we forget what keeps our own world alive.